Man of Steel #5, Brian Michael Bendis, of course, writing. Adam Hughes on the art in this issue, and the art's fantastic. This is the thing. I like, I was maybe like I said on Twitter this week that I'd maybe critique that this one feels the most out of place art wise, just because the style's so unique and different. And because they've all been different, so obviously it's not got like a flaws in art because it's meant to be a different artist each issue, um, but don't misread that as me saying it is not fantastic, because it
Hughes is very blocky, whereas everyone else is a lot more scratchy.
Very blocky, very inky. It looks really cool. It's really got a sort of darker tone to it. Not in a sort of dark Superman tone bad. Not like that. Just in the way that it treats the blues and the way that it treats, because the start of it's in space and it's full of deep blacks. It's good. And it actually convinced me. I never really thought about it, but I'm like, no man, I could go for Hughes on a Superman book, Superman or Supergirl, like one of those two at some point.
Okay, I'm a Hughes fan.
Put him on it. So we ended last issue with Superman going supernova in the fortress, and he's flying Rogolzar into space at the start of this issue. Actually, I want to mention the first page. The first pages of each issue have all had like an eye theme. There's been like a circle in the centre. It just as the opening narration plays, and this one's really cool because it's from the perspective, because Superman's like in his narration, he's questioning if the people inside Kandor in the miniaturized city, if they were aware they were about to be destroyed when Rogolzar did this. And the first page is like people in a city looking up, and you can just see the eye of Rogolzar as if it's the sun, but really big in the sky. It's a really nice page, and really intimidating. So no, props to that page. But yeah, so Rogolzar punches Superman so hard, into the moon. It leaves him there kind of stranded. We go to the next little bit of the John going with Jor-El plot in the middle, and we leave Superman on the moon.
I know what you're referring to.
Oh yeah, because you were you not listening last week?
I haven't listened since about issue 2, to be honest.
You should still be paying attention and see what's going on.
I should, but I just got bored.
Well, Jor-El came to get George. Like, oh, he's my heir. I'm going to take him around the galaxy. And this issue, again, got a couple of pages of it, and John seems to want to go, and Jor-El's like, yeah, I'm going to take you around the galaxy, and John's like, oh, well, I'll be back before school starts, and, how much underwear will I need? And Clark and Lois are like, sorry, kid, no. He's basically a stranger. You're not going around the galaxy with him. But it ends with John saying, no, I'm going. And Jor-El looks really smug, and Clark looks really pissed. So I'm assuming what's going to happen next issue is that Lois is going, okay, fine, you can go, but I'm coming with you. Like, you're being supervised.
This is how we get rid of John for a little bit at the start of the main runs, isn't it?
Just for a little bit. I mean, I think it's fine if Bendis wants to have Superman on his own for a little bit, but without erasing anything, just for an arc or two before they come back. I think that's fine. There's nothing to worry about that. It's the same with Batman. However, so often a writer just want to do a Batman on his own story. They don't want to have a Robin. They don't want to have a Batgirl. They don't want to have any of the supporting cast. They just want to do Batman.
You're talking about Tom King.
Supporting cast pops up in that quite a lot.
Here or there, but there's not been I mean, I think Damian's been in the book maybe twice in 50 issues.
Yeah, okay. But again, I'm okay with that because...
No, I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying, that's a prime example.
Oh, sure. It's because Batman especially, I feel like one book will just be Batman on his own, then another book will be Batman with his team.
I think it's a bit more noticeable in Superman where, Damian's in other books, Nightwing's, and all the Bat family have their own books, whereas Superman, it's Superman in action, and it's weird if they're not in one of them.
Oh yeah, which is why I think it makes sense if he wants to have them gone for a little bit to just actually have a reason and actually write them out for a little bit.
I think you have to, yeah.
Yeah, before they come back. And the fact that Clark's actually dealing with being lonely and missing them is also part of the plot. So I mean, it's fine. It's not like it's being ignored or whatever. But it's actually interesting. We go back to the new character, Good, the firefighter, and she's looking at the map of where all these fires, all the arsonist fires are popping up over the city, and she's looking for a pattern. And the other firefighters are like, oh, so you're looking for a pattern? So, yeah, I guess that's how this works. And he's like, she's looking for a pattern to where the arsonist is going, and she's like, yeah, that's what Batman said I should do that. And wait, you met Batman? You've been here 4 days. You met Batman and Superman. So I just thought that was a fun little scene. But they get a call for another fire, and when she gets there, Supergirl's already there, and she's got a bathtub full of kids that she's saved from the fire. And she actually, oh hey, you spoke to Superman. Do you have any idea where my cousin is? She wants to know where Superman is. And she's like, oh, no idea. And it's actually when the Justice League show up. This is kind of the issue where the rest of the league get involved because they realise this is kind of a big deal. and they get kind of worried. And Kara actually realizes, where would Clark take him if he was trying to get him away from everyone else? And she thinks of the moon, so she flies to the moon. And there's actually a great page here. In fact, I love the panel. Supergirl flying up to the moon. One of the panels, it's almost like that final shot from Superman the movie where Clark's going in front of the Earth, but it's Supergirl. It's a really nice page. But she gets to the moon, and it's almost like a rendition. You know that classic Crisis cover, or a moment of Clark holding her. Supergirl. Yeah. It's that, but she's holding him because he's on the moon. Basically, he's been beat to shit. Yeah. He's been left there lying for dead, and she's holding him. And we come back to Earth, and he's in a hospital bed, and the Justice League are there, and they're basically debating what's going on, and like, so he said cleanse, like, oh, well, this sounds kind of extreme, and they're debating, okay, what do we do about this? Kara's there, and Superman's like, oh, and he's thinking to himself, oh, Kara remembers Krypton, I don't, so she's like, I've never seen her with this reaction before. So I like how it feels heavy enough that the League are starting to get involved, and it's okay, this is something big that Superman can't necessarily take down on his own. It feels very logical the way it's doing this, and also it's just fun seeing Bendis actually write the other characters. Like when they first show up at the burning building, like at the bottom of the page, Flash is just like, oh, but I put the fire out, FYI. Everyone else is talking about what's going on with Superman, and he just sort of speeds in and goes, oh, I put the fire out, FYI. And I know you don't like the dialogue, but if you like Bendis speak, there's...
Yeah. I mean, that's why I kind of stay silent during this, because I know, my opinion is kind of... it doesn't really mean much on this. It's not a statement of the quality.
Oh, a quality of the book, sure, but I think for keeping up in what's going on generally in the universe with the Superman and the new villain, I think's worth
I'll
knowing.
worry about it at the end.
But so I mean, they're really hung up on the word cleanse. Like he said, cleanse, like a zealot. Like did Krypton have zealots like this? So they're debating that. They're openly talking about it. And it's when Batman says something along the lines of like, oh, he destroyed Krypton to cleanse, and Superman's like, oh shit, and he flies off. And there's a great moment here as well where Kara is about to chase after him, and she's kind of pissed that he's flown off without her to do something. And Diana like kind of says, hey, no, look, understand, like, if this villain, who's like one of the most dangerous villains he's ever thought, is here to just completely wipe out Kryptonians, he doesn't want you in the field with him. He doesn't want you there to like. You need to be here essentially as the backup. Because she even says, we need you not to be with him if he's going off to deal with Rogol Zar. We can't lose both Kryptonians. So it was a really nice little moment. And I actually kind of love seeing Supergirl interact with the Justice League and having like those relationships, because I've always felt that she belongs, if not in the Justice League, at least on like the Titans or something like that. So it's a really nice touch. But basically, Superman in his narration's like, right, I promised Star Labs I wouldn't do this anymore, but I'm making the call. It needs to be done. And he actually flies through the Earth to get to the core of the planet because he suspects that Rogol Zar is down there up to no good. Because obviously, I mean, he left mid-fight before. He knocked him out and then left. What's he up to? And sure enough, he's down there on the core, seemingly up, trying to destroy the planet. And that's where we end. That's a big cliffhanger for the issue. So I was loving it. The art in this issue was beautiful. I loved the League being concerned about Clark, Supergirl being concerned, them all working together, talking about this openly, about how much of a big threat this is. It really feels like it's not just Superman. It's because I think what's funny is people before this started were like, oh, is Bendis going to scrap all the supporting cast and everything else? And not only is he using the supporting cast really well, building new supporting cast, he's really like playing with the connections with all the Justice League. There's been a couple of good Batman scenes with him so far. The entire League being here was cool. I loved all that stuff. So no. So if I'm going to rate the book, if I'm going to give it a rating out of the old 10, I would probably once again go with a 9. I really can't fault much in this issue. Cyborg looked a bit weird when the Justice League first showed up. He was a bit gold looking, and I thought that was strange. I get that it was meant to be because there was a fire nearby, and it was like the flames were, I guess, reflecting on him, or the orange light was lighting him up, but it just looked kind of weird in gold.
Fair enough.
That's my critique. That's my critique. I'm okay with this.
It's very critical of you.
Well, nothing else bothered me. Everything else worked. I mean, actually, no. If I'm going to critique something without more context, John just kind of defiantly saying, "No, I want to go with Jor-El." I think for a second there that did feel a little bit out of character. Like I don't understand why he's so like, because he's never really been defiant with his parents before, at least not to this extent. I don't think. Whereas like, no, I'm going.
No, never. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of his character and his teaming with Damian has been that.
Yeah.
He kind of does what he's told.
So I'm curious to see the rest of that and maybe a bit more of his motivation for wanting to go.
Yeah, I suppose as a critique as well, the art as a shift, as part of the story, being so vastly different is kind of a critique, right? It's to the flow of the story as a whole.
I'd critique issue 2 a lot because Shayna didn't finish the issue and that shifted halfway through. So that's definitely the worst in that sense. It's weird because obviously we came in knowing every issue was going to be a different artist. So
yeah,
it was just a moment when I opened the first couple of pages where I was like, oh, this is way different than before. Like
yeah, but I think in some ways that even though the art itself, I believe it's fantastic. That is kind of a criticism that you had a moment where you went, oh, this is different, right?
Sure. Again, I think it's weird in this case though because it was always marketed as every issue has a different artist. It's not. I think it'd be worse if we had 4 of the same artist and then this issue switched to Hughes.